Good news. Bad news for NASCAR Cup teams ahead of Sunday's Michigan race. The intensity is building as the NASCAR Cup Series moves closer toward the playoffs. After last weekend's controversial finish at Richmond, 3 races remain in the regular season. The playoffs begin September 8th at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Here's a look at where things stand for each Cup organization heading into Sunday's race at Michigan International Speedway, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on USA. 311 Racing, good news. Tyler Reddick has 4 top 3 finishes in the last 5 races. He has gained 59 points on first place in the season standings in the last 6 races and is 5 points out heading to Michigan. Reddick has a series-best 10 top 5 finishes this season. He also has a series-best 16 top 10 results this season, including a career-best 6 top 10s in a row. Bubba Wallace moved to 3 points above the playoff cut line after the penalty this week to Austin Dillon. Wallace has 4 top 10s in the last 5 races. Wallace collected his first career pole at Michigan in 2022. Bad news. Reddick has never finished better than 18th in 5 Cup starts at Michigan and has placed 29th or worse in his last 3 starts there. Front Row Motorsports. Good news. Todd Gilliland has finished 17th or better in 11 of the last 12 races. Bad news. Michael McDowell has never finished better than 20th in 17 career starts at Michigan. Hendrick Motorsports. Good news. Kyle Larson remains the points leader. Chase Elliott is the only driver in the series who has been running at the finish of all the races this season. He is on a career-long 36-race streak without a DNF. This weekend marks the 700th race as a Cup crew chief for Alan Gustafson, Elliott's crew chief. Bad news. William Byron has not led a lap in the last 9 races, the longest drought in his Cup career. Alex Bowman has an average finish of 24 in 14 career starts at Michigan. Joe Gibbs Racing, good news. Martin Truex Jr. has 4 runner-up finishes at Michigan, including last year. Truex has scored 7 consecutive top 10s at Michigan. Christopher Bell has won a series-best 10 stages this season. Denny Hamlin has the best average running position, 8.96, this season. Bad news. The organization has not won in the last 5 races, its longest winless streak of the season. JGR is winless in the last 13 races at Michigan. Truex is winless in the last 39 races. Bell has 5 pit road speeding penalties this season. Ty Gibbs has only 4 top 10s in the last 17 races this season. JTG Daugherty Racing, good news. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has 4 finishes of 11th or better in the last 7 races. Bad news. Stenhouse has failed to finish 5 races due to accident this season, including twice in the last 3 races. Colleague Racing, good news. This will be AJ Allmendinger's 7th start in the last 9 Cup races for Colleague Racing. Bad news. While Allmendinger has a win in the Xfinity Series at Michigan, 2021, he has never scored a top 10 in a Cup race there in 22 starts. Daniel Hemrick has finished 30th 4 times this season, including each of the past 2 races. Legacy Motor Club, good news. Eric Jones has finished in the top 10 in each of the last 2 Cup races in his native Michigan. The team also announced this week that Jones has agreed to a contract extension to remain in the number 43 car beyond this season. Bad news. Since placing 8th at New Hampshire, John Hunter Nemechek has finished no better than 28th in the next 5 races. Richard Childress Racing, good news. Austin Dillon snapped a 68-race winless streak, scoring his first victory since August 2022 at Daytona. Kyle Busch was 12th at Richmond, marking the 2nd time in 4 races he had finished 12th or better. He had done that only once in the previous 7 races. Bad news. Busch has not scored a stage point in the last 6 races. NASCAR's penalty removed the playoff eligibility with Dillon's win at Richmond. Rick Ware Racing, good news. Cody Ware makes his 5th start of the season and his 3rd in the last 4 races. Bad news. Justin Haley is winless in his last 128 starts, the longest streak among active drivers, with at least one Cup victory. RFK Racing, good news. Chris Buescher is the defending winner at Michigan. He's also the defending winner of next week's race at Daytona. Buescher holds the final playoff spot after the penalty to Austin Dillon this week. Michigan native Brad Keselowski has an average finish of 12.3 at Michigan, including 14 top 10s in 26 career Cup starts. Bad news. Keselowski has 2 top 10s in the last 8 races. Spire Motorsports, good news. Carson Hocevar tied his career best finish of 8th at Richmond. Corey LaJoie has been running at the finish in all but one of the last 76 Cup races. Zane Smith has 5 top 20 finishes in the last 9 races. Bad news. LaJoie is 30th in the points and Smith is 33rd in the season standings. Stewart-Haas Racing, good news. SHR cars have won 6 of the last 9 Michigan races. Kevin Harvick has 5 of those wins. Clint Bowyer has the other. Josh Berry, Chase Briscoe, Noah Gragson, and Ryan Preece each has more top 10 finishes at this point this year than they did at this time last year. Bad news. The organization has gone 71 races since its last victory, August 2022 at Richmond by Harvick. Team Penske, good news. Joey Logano has 3 Michigan wins, tied for the most among active drivers with Kyle Larson. Ryan Blaney has 3 top 10s in a row at Michigan, including a win in 2021. Bad news. Austin Cindric has 1 top 10 since his victory in June at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Trackhouse Racing, good news. Daniel Suarez finished 10th at Richmond, giving him back-to-back top 10s for the first time this season. Bad news. Ross Chastain fell out of a playoff spot at Richmond. Wood Brothers Racing, good news. The organization ranks 2nd with 11 victories at Michigan. RFK Racing has 14 wins there. Bad news. Harrison Burton has finished 30th or worse in 12 races this season, including the last 3.